Nehemiah chapter 2. Now, it came to pass in the month of Nisan, in the 20th year of King Artaxerxes, that wine was presented before him, and I took up the wine and gave it to the king. Now, I had not been sad in his presence before. So, the king said to me, "Why is your face sad, since you are not sick? This can be nothing but sorrow of heart." Then I became exceedingly afraid, and said to the king, "May the king live forever! Why should my face not be sad when the city, the place of my father's tombs, lies waste, and its gates are burned with fire?" Then the king said to me, "What do you request?" So, I prayed to the God of heaven, and said to the king, "If it pleases the king, and if your servant has found favor in your sight, I ask that you send me to Judah, to the city of my father's tombs, that I may rebuild it." Then the king said to me, the queen also sitting beside him, "How long will your journey be, and when will you return?" So, it pleased the king to send me, and I set him a time. Furthermore, I said to the king, "If it pleases the king, let letters be given to me for the governors beyond the river, that they must permit me to pass through till I come to Judah. And a letter to Asaph the keeper of the king's forest, that he must give me timber to make beams for the gates of the citadel which pertains to the temple, for the city wall, and for the house that I will occupy." And the king granted them to me according to the good hand of my God upon me. Then I went to the governors in the region beyond the river and gave them the king's letters. Now the king had sent captains of the army and horsemen with me. When Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, heard of it, they were deeply disturbed that a man had come to seek the well-being of the children of Israel. So, I came to Jerusalem and was there for 3 days. Then I arose in the night, I and a few men with me. I told no one what my God had put in my heart to do at Jerusalem, nor was there any animal with me, except the one on which I rode. And I went out by night through the valley gate to the serpent well and the refuse gate, and viewed the walls of Jerusalem which were broken down, and its gates which were burned with fire. Then I went on to the fountain gate and to the king's pool, but there was no room for the animal under me to pass. So, I went up in the night by the valley, and viewed the wall. Then I turned back and entered by the valley gate, and so returned. And the officials did not know where I had gone or what I had done. I had not yet told the Jews, the priests, the nobles, the officials, or the others who did the work. Then I said to them, "You see the distress that we are in, how Jerusalem lies waste, and its gates are burned with fire. Come and let us build the wall of Jerusalem, that we may no longer be a reproach." And I told them of the hand of my God which had been good upon me, and also of the king's words that he had spoken to me. So they said, "Let us rise up and build." Then they set their hands to this good work. But when Sanballat the Horonite, Tobiah the servant, the Ammonite, and Geshem the Arab heard of it, they laughed at us and despised us, and said, "What is this thing that you are doing? Will you rebel against the king?" So I answered them, and said to them, "The God of heaven himself will prosper us. Therefore, we his servants will arise and build, but you have no heritage or right or memorial in Jerusalem." Nehemiah chapter 3. Then Eliashib the high priest rose up with his fellow priests, and they began rebuilding the sheep gate. They consecrated it, and installed its doors. They consecrated it as far as the Tower of the 100 and the Tower of Hananel. Next to him, the men of Jericho built, and next to them Zachar the son of Imri built. The fish gate was repaired by the sons of Hassanah. They laid its beams and installed its doors, its bolts, and its bars. Next to them, Mirmoth the son of Uriah, son of Hakaz, repaired. And next to them, Meshullam the son of Berechiah, son of Meshezabel, repaired. And next to them, Zadok the son of Bana repaired. The Tekoites repaired, but their nobles would not stoop to serve their lord. Jehoiada the son of Paseah and Meshullam the son of Besadiah repaired the gate of Yeshana. They laid its beams and installed its doors, its bolts, and its bars. Next to them repaired Melatiah the Gibeonite, and Jadon the Meronothite, the men of Gibeon and of Mizpah, the seat of the governor of the province beyond the river. Next to him, Uzziel the son of Harhaiah, goldsmiths, repaired. Next to him, Hananiah, one of the perfumers, repaired, and they restored Jerusalem as far as the broad wall. Next to them, Raphael the son of Hur, ruler of half the district of Jerusalem, repaired. Next to them, Jedaiah the son of Harumaph repaired opposite his house. And next to him, Haddish the son of Hashabneiah repaired. Malchijah the son of Haram and Hashub the son of Pahath-Moab repaired another section and the tower of the ovens. Next to him, Shallum the son of Halahesh, ruler of half the district of Jerusalem, repaired, he and his daughters. The valley gate was repaired by Hanan and the inhabitants of Zanoah. They rebuilt it and set its doors, its bolts, and its bars, and repaired 1,000 cubits of the wall, as far as the dung gate. The dung gate was repaired by Malchijah the son of Rechab, ruler of the district of Beth-Haccherem. He rebuilt it and set its doors, its bolts, and its bars. And the fountain gate was repaired by Shallun the son of Colhose, ruler of the district of Mizpah. He rebuilt it, and covered it, and set its doors, its bolts, and its bars, and he built the wall of the pool of Shelah of the king's garden, as far as the stairs that go down from the city of David. After him Nehemiah the son of Azbuk, ruler of half the district of Beth-zur, repaired to a point opposite the tombs of David, as far as the artificial pool, and as far as the house of the mighty men. After him the Levites repaired, Rehum the son of Bani. Next to him Hashabiah, ruler of half the district of Keilah, repaired for his district. After him their brothers repaired, Bavai the son of Henadad, ruler of half the district of Keilah. Next to him Ezer the son of Jeshua, ruler of Mizpah, repaired another section opposite the ascent to the armory at the buttress. After him Baruch the son of Zabbai repaired another section from the buttress to the door of the house of Eliashib the high priest. After him Mirmoth the son of Uriah, son of Hakaz repaired another section from the door of the house of Eliashib to the end of the house of Eliashib. After him the priests, the men of the surrounding area, repaired. After them Benjamin and Hashub repaired opposite their house. After them Azariah the son of Messiah, son of Ananiah repaired beside his own house. After him Binui the son of Henadad repaired another section, from the house of Azariah to the buttress and to the corner. Palal the son of Uzai repaired opposite the buttress and the tower projecting from the upper house of the king at the court of the guard. After him Pedaiah the son of Parash. And the temple servants living on Ophel repaired to a point opposite the water gate on the east and the projecting tower. After him the Tekoites repaired another section opposite the great projecting tower as far as the wall of Ophel. Above the horse gate the priests repaired, each one opposite his own house. After them Zadok the son of Immer repaired opposite his own house. After him Shemaiah the son of Shechaniah, the keeper of the east gate, repaired. After him Hananiah the son of Shelemiah and Hanan the sixth son of Zalaph repaired another section. After him Meshullam the son of Berechiah repaired opposite his chamber. After him Malchijah, one of the goldsmiths, repaired as far as the house of the temple servants and of the merchants, opposite the muster gate, and to the upper chamber of the corner. And between the upper chamber of the corner and the sheep gate the goldsmiths and the merchants repaired. Nehemiah chapter 4. But when Sanballat heard that we were rebuilding the wall, he became furious and filled with indignation. He mocked the Jews, and spoke in the presence of his brothers and the army of Samaria, saying, "What are these feeble Jews doing? Will they restore it for themselves? Will they offer sacrifices? Will they finish it in a day? Will they revive the stones from the heaps of rubbish, stones that are burned?" Now Tobiah the Ammonite was beside him, and he said, "Whatever they build, if even a fox goes up on it, he will break down their stone wall. Hear, O our God, for we are despised. Turn their taunt back on their own heads and give them up to be plundered in a land of captivity. Do not cover their guilt, and let not their sin be blotted out from your sight, for they have provoked you to anger in the presence of the builders." So we built the wall, and all the wall was joined together to half its height, for the people had a mind to work. But when Sanballat and Tobiah and the Arabs and the Ammonites and the Ashdodites heard that the repairing of the walls of Jerusalem was going forward and that the breaches were beginning to be closed, they were very angry. and they all plotted together to come and fight against Jerusalem and to cause confusion in it. And we prayed to our God and set a guard as a protection against them day and night. But Judah said, "The strength of those who bear the burdens is failing, and there is too much rubble, so that we are unable to work on the wall." And our enemies said, "They will not know or see till we come among them and kill them and stop the work." At that time the Jews who lived near them came from all directions and said to us 10 times, "You must return to us." So in the lowest parts of the space behind the wall, in open places, I stationed the people by their clans, with their swords, their spears, and their bows. And I looked and arose and said to the nobles and to the officials and to the rest of the people, "Do not be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your brothers, your sons, your daughters, your wives, and your homes." When our enemies heard that it was known to us and that God had frustrated their plan, we all returned to the wall, each to his work. From that day on, half of my servants worked on construction, and half held the spears, shields, bows, and coats of mail. And the leaders stood behind the whole house of Judah, who were building on the wall. Those who carried burdens were loaded in such a way that each labored on the work with one hand and held his weapon with the other. And each of the builders had his sword strapped at his side while he built. The man who sounded the trumpet was beside me. And I said to the nobles and to the officials and to the rest of the people, "The work is great and widely spread, and we are separated on the wall, far from one another. In the place where you hear the sound of the trumpet, rally to us there. Our God will fight for us." So we labored at the work, and half of them held the spears from the break of dawn until the stars came out. I also said to the people at that time, "Let every man and his servant pass the night within Jerusalem, that they may be a guard for us by night, and may labor by day." So neither I nor my brothers nor my servants nor the men of the guard who followed me, none of us took off our clothes. Each kept his weapon at his right hand. Nehemiah chapter 5. And there arose a great outcry from the people and their wives against their fellow Jews. For some said, "We, along with our sons and our daughters, are numerous, so let us procure grain, that we may eat and live." And there were others who said, "We have mortgaged our fields, vineyards, and houses, that we might obtain grain because of the famine." Also, there were those who said, "We have borrowed money for the king's tax on our fields and vineyards. Yet now our flesh is as the flesh of our brethren, our children as their children, and indeed we are forcing our sons and our daughters to be slaves, and some of our daughters have been brought into slavery. It is not in our power to redeem them, for other men have our lands and vineyards." So I became very angry when I heard their outcry and these words. Then I took counsel with myself, and I brought charges against the nobles and the rulers, and said to them, "Each of you is exacting interest from his brother." So I held a great assembly against them. And I said to them, "According to our ability we have redeemed our Jewish brethren who were sold to the Gentiles. Now indeed, will you even sell your brethren? Or should they be sold to us?" Then they were silenced and found no answer. Then I said, "What you are doing is not good. Should you not walk in the fear of our God because of the reproach of the nations, our enemies? I also, with my brethren and my servants, am lending them money and grain. Please let us stop this usury. Restore now to them, even this day, their fields, their vineyards, their olive groves, and their houses, also 1/100 of the money and the grain, the new wine and the oil, that you have charged them." So they said, "We will restore it, and will require nothing from them. We will do as you say." Then I called the priests, and required an oath from them that they would do according to this promise. Then I shook out the fold of my garment, and said, "So may God shake out each man from his house, and from his property, who does not perform this promise. Even thus may he be shaken out and emptied." And all the assembly said, "Amen," and praised the Lord. Then the people did according to this promise. Moreover, from the time that I was appointed to be their governor in the land of Judah, from the 20th year until the 32nd year of King Artaxerxes, for 12 years, neither I nor my brothers ate the governor's provisions. But the former governors who were before me laid heavy burdens on the people, and took from them bread and wine, besides 40 shekels of silver. Yes, even their servants bore rule over the people, but I did not do so, because of the fear of God. Indeed, I also continued the work on this wall, and we did not buy any land. All my servants were gathered there for the work. And at my table were 150 Jews and rulers, besides those who came to us from the nations around us. Now that which was prepared daily was 1 ox and 6 choice sheep. Also fowl were prepared for me, and once every 10 days an abundance of all kinds of wine. Yet in spite of this, I did not demand the governor's provisions, because the bondage was heavy on this people. Remember me, my God, for good, according to all that I have done for this people. Nehemiah chapter 6. Now it came to pass, when Sanballat, Tobiah, Geshem the Arabian, and the rest of our enemies heard that I had completed the wall, and that there were no breaches left in it, although at that time I had not yet set up the doors on the gates, that Sanballat and Geshem sent messengers to me, saying, Come, let us meet together in one of the villages in the plain of Ono. But they intended to harm me. And I sent messengers to them, replying, I am doing a great work, so I cannot come down. Why should the work cease while I leave it and come down to you? Yet they sent for me 4 times in this way, and I answered them in the same manner. Then Sanballat sent his servant to me in the same fashion a 5th time, with an open letter in his hand, in which it was written, It is reported among the nations, and Geshem says it, that you and the Jews are planning to rebel. Therefore, you are building the wall, that you may be their king, according to these words. And you have also appointed prophets to proclaim about you in Jerusalem, saying, There is a king in Judah. And now these matters will be reported to the king. So come, let us consult together. Then I sent to him, saying, No such things as you say are being done, but you invent them in your own heart. For they all sought to make us afraid, saying, Their hands will be weakened in the work, and it will not be done. Now therefore, O God, strengthen my hands. Afterward, I went into the house of Shemaiah the son of Delaiah, the son of Mehetabeel, who was confined at home. And he said, Let us meet together in the house of God, within the temple, and let us close the doors of the temple, for they are coming to kill you. Indeed, at night they will come to kill you. But I said, Should such a man as I flee? And who is there such as I who would go into the temple to save his life? I will not go in. Then I perceived that God had not sent him, but that he had pronounced this prophecy against me because Tobiah and Sanballat had hired him. For this reason he was hired, that I should be afraid and act in this way in sin, so that they might have cause for an evil report, that they might reproach me. My God, remember Tobiah and Sanballat according to these their works, and also the prophetess Noadiah and the rest of the prophets who would have made me afraid. So the wall was finished on the 25th day of Elul, in 52 days. And it came to pass that when all our enemies heard of it, and all the nations around us saw these things, they were greatly disheartened in their own eyes, for they perceived that this work had been accomplished by our God. Moreover, in those days the nobles of Judah sent many letters to Tobiah, and the letters of Tobiah came to them. For there were many in Judah who were sworn to him because he was the son-in-law of Shechaniah the son of Ara, and his son Johanan had taken the daughter of Meshullam the son of Berechiah as his wife. Also, they reported his good deeds before me and reported my words to him. And Tobiah sent letters to make me afraid. Nehemiah chapter 7. Now it came to pass when the wall was completed, and I had set up the doors, and the gatekeepers, singers, and Levites had been appointed, that I entrusted my brother Hanani and Hananiah, the leader of the fortress, with the oversight of Jerusalem, for he was a faithful man who revered God more than many. And I said to them, Do not let the gates of Jerusalem be opened until the sun is hot. While they are still standing guard, let them shut the doors and bar them. Appoint watchers from the inhabitants of Jerusalem, each in his watch, and each to be opposite his house. Now the city was spacious and large, but the people in it were few, and the houses had not been rebuilt. Then my God put it into my heart to gather the nobles, the rulers, and the people, that they might be registered by genealogy. And I found a register of the genealogy of those who had come up in the first return, and I found written in it, "These are the people of the province who came up from the captivity, of those who had been carried away, whom Nebuchadnezzar the king of Babylon had carried away, and who returned to Jerusalem and Judah, every one to his city. Those who came with Zerubbabel were Jeshua, Nehemiah, Azariah, Ramiah, Naamani, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mispereth, Bigvai, Nehem, and Baanah. The number of the men of the people of Israel. The descendants of Parash, 2,172. The descendants of Shephatiah, 372. The descendants of Ara, 652. The descendants of Pahath-Moab, of the descendants of Jeshua and Joab, 2,818. The descendants of Elam, 1,254. The descendants of Zattu, 845. The descendants of Zakkai, 760. The descendants of Binui, 648. The descendants of Bibai, 628. The descendants of Azgad, 2,322. The descendants of Adonikam, 667. The descendants of Bigvai, 2,067. The descendants of Adin, 655. The descendants of Ater of Hezekiah, 98. The descendants of Hazhum, 328. The descendants of Bazai, 324. The descendants of Hariph, 112. The descendants of Gibeon, 95. The people of Bethlehem and Netopha, 188. The people of Anathoth, 128. The people of Beth Asmaveth, 42. The people of Kirjath-Jearim, Kephirah, and Beeroth, 743. The people of Ramah and Geba, 621. The people of Michmas, 122. The people of Bethel and Ai, 123. The people of the other Nebo, 52. The people of the other Elam, 1,254. The people of Haram, 320. The people of Jericho, 345. The people of Lod, Hadid, and Ono, 721. The people of Sina, 3,930. The priests, the descendants of Jediah, of the house of Jeshua, 973. The descendants of Immer, 1,052. The descendants of Pashur, 1,247. The descendants of Haram, 1,017. The Levites, the descendants of Jeshua and Kadmiel, of the descendants of Hodaviah, 74. The singers, the descendants of Asaph, 148. The gatekeepers, the descendants of Shallum, the descendants of Ater, the descendants of Talmon, the descendants of Akub, the descendants of Hadadah, the descendants of Shobai, 138. The Nethanim, the descendants of Ziha, the descendants of Hasupha, the descendants of Tabbath. The descendants of Kuras, the descendants of Sia, the descendants of Paddan. The descendants of Labana, the descendants of Hagaba, the descendants of Shalmai. The descendants of Hanan, the descendants of Giddel, the descendants of Gahar. The descendants of Rhea, the descendants of Rezin, the descendants of Nakoda. The descendants of Gazam, the descendants of Uzzah, the descendants of Paseah. The descendants of Bisai, the descendants of Meonim, the descendants of Nephushasim. The descendants of Bakbuk, the descendants of Hakupha, the descendants of Harher. The descendants of Bazlith, the descendants of Mehida, the descendants of Harsha. The descendants of Barkos, the descendants of Sisera, the descendants of Tama. The descendants of Neziah, the descendants of Hatipha. The descendants of Solomon's servants, the descendants of Sotai, the descendants of Sophereth, the descendants of Perida. The descendants of Jala, the descendants of Darkon, the descendants of Giddel. The descendants of Shephatiah, the descendants of Hattil, the descendants of Pachrath of Zebaim, the descendants of Ammon. All the Nethinim and the descendants of Solomon's servants were 392. And these were the ones who came up from Tel Melah, Tel Harsha, Cherub, Adon, and Immer, but they could not identify their father's house or their lineage, whether they were of Israel. The descendants of Deliah, the descendants of Tobiah, the descendants of Nekoda, 642. And of the priests, the descendants of Hobiah, the descendants of Koz, the descendants of Barzillai, who took a wife from the daughters of Barzillai the Gileadite, and was called by their name. These sought their listing among those who were registered by genealogy, but it was not found, therefore they were excluded as defiled from the priesthood. And the governor said to them that they should not eat of the most holy things till a priest could consult with the Urim and Thummim. The total number of the assembly was 42,360. Besides their male and female servants, of whom there were 7,337, and they had 245 men and women singers. Their horses were 736, their mules 245. Their camels 435, and their donkeys 6,720. And some of the heads of the fathers' houses gave to the work. The governor gave to the treasury 1,000 gold drachmas, 50 basins, and 530 priestly garments. Some of the heads of the fathers' houses gave to the treasury of the work 20,000 gold drachmas, and 2,200 silver minas. And that which the rest of the people gave was 20,000 gold drachmas, 2,000 silver minas, and 67 priestly garments. So the priests, the Levites, the gatekeepers, the singers, some of the people, the Nethinim, and all Israel dwelt in their cities. When the 7th month came, the children of Israel were in their cities. Nehemiah chapter 8. And all the people gathered together as a unified assembly in the street before the water gate. They approached Ezra the scribe, requesting that he bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord had commanded for Israel. Ezra the priest brought the law before the congregation, including both men and women, and all who could comprehend, on the first day of the 7th month. He read from it in the open street before the water gate, beginning in the morning and continuing until midday. Men and women, along with those who could understand, listened attentively to the words of the book of the law. Ezra stood on a wooden platform that had been specially constructed for this purpose. Beside him stood individuals such as Mattathiah, Shema, Ananiah, Uriah, Hilkiah, Maaseiah on his right, and Pedaiah, Mishael, Malchiah, Hazum, Hashbaddanah, Zechariah, and Meshullam on his left. Ezra opened the book in the sight of all the people, for he was elevated above them all. When he opened it, the people rose to their feet. Ezra blessed the Lord, the great God, and all the people responded, saying, Amen, Amen, with raised hands. They bowed their heads and worshipped the Lord with their faces to the ground. Also, Jeshua, Bani, Sherebiah, Shemin, Akub, Shabbathai, Hodijah, Maaseiah, Kelida, Azariah, Jozabad, Hanan, Peliah, and the Levites explained the law to the people while they remained in their places. They read from the book of the law of God, explaining it clearly and giving the sense of its meaning. They helped the people understand what was being read. Then Nehemiah, who was the Tirshatha, Ezra the priest and scribe, and the Levites who were teaching the people said to everyone, This day is holy to the Lord your God, do not mourn or weep. For all the people had been weeping when they heard the words of the law. Nehemiah continued, Go and enjoy choice food and sweet drinks and send some to those who have nothing prepared. This day is holy to our Lord. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is your strength. So the Levites calmed all the people, saying, Be still, for this day is holy, do not grieve. Then all the people went away to eat, drink, send portions to one another, and celebrate with great joy because they had understood the words that were explained to them. On the second day, the leaders of the families of all the people, the priests, and the Levites gathered around Ezra the scribe to gain understanding from the words of the law. They discovered written in the law that the Lord had commanded through Moses that the Israelites should dwell in booths during the feast of the 7th month. So they proclaimed and spread this message in all their cities and in Jerusalem, saying, Go out to the hill country and bring back branches of olive, wild olive, myrtle, palm, and other leafy trees to make booths, as it is written." The people went out, gathered the branches, and made themselves booths, each one on the roof of their house, in their courtyards, in the courts of the house of God, in the street of the water gate, and in the street of the gate of Ephraim. The whole assembly of those who had returned from captivity made booths and lived in them, for since the days of Joshua son of Nun until that day, the Israelites had not done this. So there was great rejoicing. Each day, from the first day to the last day, Ezra read from the book of the law of God. They observed the feast for 7 days, and on the 8th day there was a solemn assembly, according to the ordinance. Nehemiah chapter 9. On the 24th day of this month, the children of Israel gathered together with fasting, wearing sackcloth, and placing dust on themselves. The descendants of Israel separated themselves from all foreigners and stood before confessing their sins and the wrongdoings of their ancestors. They stood in their places and read from the book of the law of the Lord their God for 1/4 of the day. During another 1/4 of the day, they confessed their sins and worshipped the Lord their God. Standing on the stairs, the Levites Jeshua, Bani, Kadmiel, Shebaniah, Buni, Sherebiah, Bani, and Chinani cried out with loud voices to the Lord their God. Then the Levites, Jeshua, Kadmiel, Bani, Hashabniah, Sherebiah, Hodijah, Shebaniah, and Pethahiah said, "Stand up and bless the Lord your God forever and ever. Blessed be your glorious name, which is exalted above all blessing and praise. You alone are the Lord, you created the heavens, the highest heavens, with all their hosts, the earth and all that is on it, the seas and all that is in them. You give life to all of them, and the heavenly host worships you. You are the Lord, the God who chose Abram and brought him out of Ur of the Chaldeans, giving him the name Abraham. You found his heart faithful before you and made a covenant with him to give the land of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Jebusites, and Girgashites, to give it to his descendants. You have kept your promise because you are righteous. You saw the oppression of our ancestors in Egypt, and heard their cry by the Red Sea. You performed signs and wonders against Pharaoh, all his officials, and all the people of his land, for you knew how arrogantly they treated our ancestors. You made a name for yourself that endures to this day. You divided the sea before them, and they crossed through it on dry ground. You hurled their pursuers into the depths like a stone into churning waters. You led them with a pillar of cloud by day, and with a pillar of fire by night, to illuminate the way they should go. You came down on Mount Sinai and spoke with them from heaven. You gave them impartial ordinances, reliable instructions, and good decrees and commandments. You revealed your holy Sabbath to them, and gave them commands, statutes, and a law through your servant Moses. You provided bread from heaven for their hunger, you brought them water from the rock for their thirst. You told them to enter and possess the land you had sworn to give them. But our ancestors acted arrogantly. They became stiff-necked and did not listen to your commands. They refused to listen and did not remember your wonders you performed among them. They became stiff-necked and appointed a leader to return to their slavery in Egypt. But you are a forgiving God, gracious and compassionate, slow to anger and rich in faithful love, and you did not abandon them. Even when they had cast an image of a calf for themselves and said, "This is your God who brought you out of Egypt," and they had committed terrible blasphemies. You, in your abundant compassion, did not abandon them in the wilderness. The pillar of cloud did not leave them by day to guide them on their path, and the pillar of fire by night to illuminate the way they should go. You gave your good spirit to instruct them. You did not withhold your manna from their mouths, and you gave them water for their thirst. You provided for them in the wilderness 40 years, and they lacked nothing. Their clothes did not wear out, and their feet did not swell. You gave them kingdoms and peoples and assigned them to be a boundary. They took possession of the land of King Sihon of Heshbon and of the land of King Og of Bashan. You multiplied their descendants like the stars of heaven and brought them to the land you told their ancestors to go in and take possession of. So their descendants went in and possessed the land. you subdued the Canaanites who inhabited the land before them and handed their kings and the surrounding peoples over to them, to do as they pleased. They captured fortified cities and fertile land and took possession of well-supplied houses, rock-hewn cisterns, vineyards, olive groves, and fruit trees in abundance. They ate, were filled, became prosperous, and delighted in your great goodness. But they were disobedient and rebelled against you. They flung your law behind their backs and killed your prophets who warned them to turn them back to you. They committed terrible blasphemies. So you handed them over to their enemies, who oppressed them. In their time of distress they cried out to you, and you heard from heaven. In your abundant compassion, you provided them with deliverers who rescued them from the power of their enemies. But as soon as they had relief, they again did what was evil in your sight. So you abandoned them to the power of their enemies, who dominated them. When they cried out to you again, you heard from heaven and rescued them many times because of your compassion. You warned them to turn back to your law, but they acted arrogantly and would not obey your commandments. They sinned against your ordinances, which bring life to the person who obeys them. They stubbornly resisted, stiffened their necks, and would not obey. You were patient with them for many years, and your spirit warned them through your prophets, but they would not listen. Therefore, you handed them over to the surrounding peoples. In your abundant compassion, you did not destroy them or abandon them, for you are a gracious and compassionate God. Now therefore, our God, the great, mighty, and awe-inspiring God who keeps His gracious covenant, do not view lightly all the hardships that have afflicted us, our kings and leaders, our priests and prophets, our ancestors and all your people, from the days of the Assyrian kings until today. You are righteous concerning all that has come on us, because you have acted faithfully, while we have acted wickedly. Our kings, leaders, priests, and ancestors did not obey your law or listen to your commands and warnings you gave them. While they were in their kingdom, with your abundant goodness that you gave them, and in the spacious and fertile land you set before them, they would not serve you or turn from their wicked ways. Here we are today, slaves in the land you gave our ancestors so that they could enjoy its fruit and its goodness. Here we are, slaves in it. Its abundant harvest goes to the kings you have set over us, because of our sins. They rule over our bodies and our livestock as they please. We are in great distress. In view of all this, we are making a binding agreement and writing on a sealed document containing the names of our leaders, Levites, and priests. Nehemiah chapter 10. The individuals who affixed their seals were Nehemiah, the Tirshatha, son of Hakaliah, and Zidkijah, Sariah, Azariah, Jeremiah, Pashur, Mariah, Malchijah, Hattush, Shebaniah, Malach, Haram, Mirmath, Obadiah, Daniel, Ginnathan, Baruch, Meshullam, Abijah, Mijamin, Maziah, Bilgai, Shemaiah. These were the priests. As for the Levites, there were Jeshua, son of Azaniah, Binnui of the sons of Henadad, Kadmiel, and their brethren, Shebaniah, Hodijah, Kelida, Peliah, Hanan, Micah, Rehob, Hashabiah, Zachar, Sherebiah, Shebaniah, Hodijah, Bani, Beninu. Among the chiefs of the people, Parash, Pahath-Moab, Elam, Zatu, Bani, Buni, Azgad, Bibay, Adonijah, Bigvai, Aden, Ater, Hizkijah, Azar, Hodijah, Hazam, Bazai, Hariph, Anathoth, Nebai, Magpish, Meshullam, Hezer, Meshizabeel, Zadok, Jadua, Pelatiah, Hanan, Anaiah, Hozhi, Hananiah, Hazub, Halahesh, Peliha, Shobek, Rehum, Hashabna, Messiah, and Ahijah, Hanan, Anan, Malach, Haram, Bana. Also, the remainder of the people, including the priests, Levites, gatekeepers, singers, Nethinim, and all who separated themselves from the people of the lands to adhere to the law of God, along with their wives, sons, and daughters, all who had understanding and knowledge. They joined together with their fellow Israelites, the nobles, and entered into a curse and an oath to follow God's law given through Moses, the servant of God, and to obey and uphold all the commandments of the Lord our Lord, along with His judgments and statutes. They pledged not to give their daughters in marriage to the people of the land or to take their daughters for their sons. They also committed to avoid purchasing goods or provisions on the Sabbath day, or on any holy day, and to leave the seventh year fallow and forgive all debts. They made regulations to contribute annually 1/3 of a shekel for the service of the house of our God. For the showbread, the regular grain offering, the regular burnt offering on the Sabbaths, on the new moons, and at the appointed feasts, as prescribed in the law. To set aside a portion for the house of our God, for the bread of the presence, for the regular grain offering, for the regular burnt offering, for the Sabbaths, the new moons, and the appointed feasts, for the holy offerings, for the sin offerings to make atonement for Israel, and for all the work of the house of our God. They cast lots among the priests, Levites, and people for the wood offering, to bring it into the house of our God, according to our fathers' houses, at appointed times year by year, to burn on the altar of the Lord our God, as it is written in the law. To bring the firstfruits of our land and the firstfruits of all the fruit trees year by year to the house of the Lord, as well as the firstborn of our sons and livestock, as prescribed in the law, and to bring the firstborn of our herds and flocks to the house of our God, to the priests who serve in the house of our God. To bring the firstfruits of our dough, our contributions, the fruit from every kind of tree, the new wine, and oil to the priests at the chambers of the house of our God, along with 1/10 of the produce from our land to the Levites. For the Levites collect the tithes in all our agricultural towns. A priest descended from Aaron is to accompany the Levites when they collect the 10th, and the Levites are to take 1/10 of the tithes up to the house of our God, to the storerooms of the treasury. For the Israelites and the Levites are to bring the contributions of grain, new wine, and oil to the storerooms where the articles of the sanctuary are kept and where the priests who minister, the gatekeepers, and the singers also stay. We will not neglect the house of our God. Nehemiah chapter 11. The leaders of the people resided in Jerusalem. The rest of the population cast lots, and 1 in 10 were chosen to live in the holy city of Jerusalem, while the remaining 9 parts settled in other cities. The people blessed all those who willingly offered to dwell in Jerusalem. The following were the notable inhabitants of the province residing in Jerusalem. In the cities of Judah, everyone dwelt in their respective possessions, including Israel, the priests, the Levites, the Nethinims, and the descendants of Solomon's servants. In Jerusalem, some of the children of Judah and Benjamin lived. Among the children of Judah were Athaiah, the son of Uzziah, descended from Zechariah, Amariah, Shephatiah, and Mahalaleel of the lineage of Perez. Messiah, the son of Baruch, of the Kolhozeh lineage, Haziah, Adiah, Joiarib, and Zechariah from the Shiloni family. The total number of valiant men from the descendants of Perez residing in Jerusalem was 468. As for the sons of Benjamin, there was Sallu, son of Meshullam, Jod, Pedaiah, Kaliah, Messiah, Ithiel, and Jesiah. After them came Gabai and Salai, totaling 928. Joel, son of Zichri, was their overseer, and Judah, son of Senua, held the second position in the city. Among the priests were Jediah, son of Joiarib, and Jachin. Sariah, son of Hilkiah, from the line of Meshullam, Zadok, Meraioth, Ahitub, was the ruler of the house of God. The brethren who carried out the work in the house numbered 822. Adiah, son of Jeraham, Pelaliah, Amzi, Zechariah, Pashur, and Malchiah, along with 242 chief fathers. Amashai, son of Azareel, Ahasai, Meshillemoth, Immer, and 128 mighty men of valor. Zabdiel, the son of a great man, was their overseer. Among the Levites, Shemaiah, son of Hazub, Azrikam, Hashabiah, Buni, and Shabbathai and Jozabad, who were the chief Levites overseeing the external affairs of the house of God. To begin the thanksgiving in prayer, Mattaniah, son of Micah, son of Zabi, son of Asaph, was the principal. Bakbukiah was second among his brethren, and Abda, son of Shammua, son of Galal, son of Jeduthun, also held this responsibility. In the holy city, the total number of Levites was 284. The gatekeepers, Akub, Talmon, and their brethren who guarded the gates, numbered 172. The remaining Israelites, including priests and Levites, resided in the cities of Judah, each in their own inheritance. The Nethinims lived in Ophel, under the supervision of Ziha and Jispa. Uzzi, son of Bani, son of Hashabiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micah, was the overseer of the Levites in Jerusalem. Among the sons of Asaph, the singers were responsible for the work of the house of God. King's commandment decreed a daily portion for the singers. Pethahiah, son of Meshezabeel, a descendant of Zerah, son of Judah, served at the king's hand in all matters concerning the people. Some of the children of Judah dwelt in various locations, including Kirjatharba, its villages, Dibon, its villages, Jekabzeel, and its villages, Jeshua, Malada, and Bethphelet. They also settled in Hazarshual, Beersheba, and its villages, Ziklag, Makona, and its villages, and Rimmon, Zeriah, and Jarmuth. Additionally, they lived in Zanoah, Adullam, and their villages, as well as Lachish and its fields, Azekah, and its villages. They occupied up to Beersheba and the valley of Hinnom. The children of Benjamin, starting from Geba, resided in Michmash, Ijah, Bethel, and their villages. They also lived in Anathoth, Nob, Ananiah, Hazer, Ramah, and Gittaim. Other cities included Hadid, Zebim, Nebalat, Lod, and Ono, which was known as the Valley of Craftsmen. The Levites were assigned divisions in Judah and Benjamin. Nehemiah chapter 12. These were the priests and Levites who went up with Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, and Jeshua, Sariah, Jeremiah, Ezra, Amariah, Malach, Hattush, Shechaniah, Rehum, Mirmoth, Iddo, Genetho, Abijah, Miamin, Mediah, Bilgah, Shemaiah, Joarib, Jediah, Sallu, Amok, Hilkiah, and Jediah. They held prominent positions among the priests and their brethren during the days of Jeshua. Additionally, the Levites included Jeshua, Binnui, Kadmiel, Sherebiah, Judah, and Mattaniah, who oversaw the thanksgiving, both he and his brethren. Bakbukiah and Uni, their brethren, were responsible for the watches. In the lineage of Jeshua, Joachim was born, who later begot Eliashib, and Eliashib begot Joiada. Joiada begot Jonathan, and Jonathan begot Jaddua. During the days of Joachim, priests who were heads of their fathers' houses included Moriah of the Sariah family, Hananiah of the Jeremiah family, Meshullam of the Ezra family, Jehohanan of the Amariah family, Jonathan of the Melika family, Joseph of the Shebaniah family, Adnah of the Haram family, Helkai of the Meraioth family, Zechariah of the Iddo family, Meshullam of the Ginnathan family, Zikri of the Abijah family, Piltai of the Miniamin and Moadiah families, Shammua of the Bilgah family, Jehonathan of the Shemaiah family, Mattaniah of the Joarib family, Uzzi of the Jediah family, Kalai of the Salai family, Eber of the Amok family, Hashabiah of the Hilkiah family, and Nethaniel of the Jediah family. The Levites who held the highest positions among the fathers during the days of Eliashib, Joiada, Johanan, and Jaddua, along with the priests, continued their record-keeping until the reign of Darius the Persian. The descendants of Levi, the chief of the fathers, were recorded in the Chronicles until the days of Johanan, the son of Eliashib. The leading Levites included Hashabiah, Sherebiah, and Jeshua, son of Kadmiel, along with their brethren, and they were responsible for praising and giving thanks, as commanded by David, the man of God, with one division corresponding to another. The gatekeepers were Mattaniah, Bakbukiah, Obadiah, Meshullam, Talmon, and Akub, who guarded the thresholds of the gates. During the days of Joachim, the son of Jeshua, the son of Jozadak, and the days of Nehemiah, the governor, and Ezra, the priest and scribe, at the dedication of the wall of Jerusalem, they sought the Levites from all their places to bring them to Jerusalem. They wanted to celebrate the dedication with great joy, offering thanks and singing with cymbals, psalteries, and harps. The sons of the singers gathered from the surrounding areas of Jerusalem, including the plain country, the villages of Netophathi, the house of Gilgal, and the fields of Geba and Asmaveth. The singers had established villages around Jerusalem. The priests and Levites purified themselves, the people, the gates, and the wall. I then assembled the leaders of Judah on the wall and organized 2 large companies of those who gave thanks. One group walked on the right side of the wall, toward the Dung Gate. Following them were Hoshea and half of the leaders of Judah, including Azariah, Ezra, Meshullam, Judah, Benjamin, Shemaiah, and Jeremiah, along with some of the priests' sons bearing trumpets. Zechariah, son of Jonathan, son of Shemaiah, son of Mattaniah, son of Micaiah, son of Zachar, son of Asaph, played the trumpets. His brethren included Shemaiah, Azarel, Milalai, Helali, Mai, Nethaniel, Judah, and Hanani, with the musical instruments of David, the man of God, and Ezra the scribe leading them. At the fountain gate, they ascended the stairs of the city of David, going up along the wall above the house of David until reaching the water gate in the east. The other company of those who gave thanks went in the opposite direction, and I followed them, with half of the people walking on the wall. They proceeded beyond the Tower of the Furnaces, along the broad wall, above the gate of Ephraim, the Old Gate, the Fish Gate, the Tower of Hananiel, and the Tower of Mia, all the way to the Sheep Gate. They stopped at the prison gate. The 2 groups of those who gave thanks, along with the priests and musicians, stood in the house of God, and I, along with half of the rulers, was with them. The priests included Eliakim, Messiah, Miniamin, Micaiah, Elioenai, Zechariah, and Hananiah, who played the trumpets. Messiah, Shemaiah, Eleazar, Uzzi, Jehohanan, Malchijah, Elam, and Ezra also joined them. Jezrahiah supervised the singers. That day, great sacrifices were offered, and everyone rejoiced with great joy. The joy of Jerusalem could be heard from afar. At that time, individuals were appointed to oversee the chambers for the treasures, offerings, firstfruits, and tithes, collecting the portions of the law for the priests and Levites from the fields of the cities. Judah rejoiced for the priests and Levites who served. Both the singers and the gatekeepers carried out their duties, according to the commandment of David and Solomon. In the days of Zerubbabel and later in the days of Nehemiah and Ezra, all of Israel faithfully provided portions to the singers and gatekeepers daily. They consecrated these offerings to the Levites, who, in turn, sanctified them for the descendants of Aaron.